If you're planning to go to college, chances are you'll be taking one of the standardized tests, either the S.A.T. or the A.C.T. But which one's better? It depends.
Every year, millions of high school students take these exams. For seniors in the class of 2023, the S.A.T. was more popular. 1.9 million seniors took the S.A.T. at least once. 1.4 million seniors took the A.C.T. But what's the difference between the two tests? To answer that, we turn to a good friend of Teen Kids News, Rob Franek, editor-in-chief of the Princeton Review. Let's start with the similarities. What do the S.A.T. and A.C.T. have in common?
Well, both tests gauge a student's academic readiness for college. Both are equally regarded by colleges, meaning that one test isn't favored over the other. Both have no guessing penalty, and scores on either test can improve a student's chances not only for academic admission, but to earn scholarships and grants as well.
I guess the elephant in the room is, how are they different? Let's start with the format.
Well, the S.A.T. is a digital test taken on a desktop, a laptop, or a tablet using the Blue Book app, and that's the College Board's digital app. The test is also adaptive, which means the question's level of difficulty is based on the answers that you gave.
Rob, how does that work exactly? Can you give an example?
Oh, absolutely. There are two sets of questions in the reading and writing section of the S.A.T. and two sets in the math section. Now, based on how well you answer the first set of questions determines the level of difficulty of the second set. So, if you rock the first set of math questions, then you're likely to see lots of hard questions in the second set. But remember that the inverse logic applies too. So if you performed poorly in that first set of questions, you're likely to see easier questions in the second set.
Got it. So how is the format of the A.C.T. different?
Well, the A.C.T. is a pencil and paper test, which means that everyone is taking the same test at each time the A.C.T. is given.
How does the length of the test compare?
The S.A.T. comes in at 2 hours and 14 minutes, and it has 98 questions. The A.C.T. is 2 hours and 55 minutes, and it has 215 questions. That's without the optional essay. But it's important to remember that the S.A.T. provides 68% more time per question than the A.C.T.
Speaking of more time, we need more time to tell you what else you need to know about the new digital S.A.T. So hang on to your calculators. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about the digital S.A.T. with Rob Franek, editor-in-chief of the Princeton Review. Rob, when it comes to content, how does the new S.A.T. differ from the A.C.T.?
On the S.A.T., there are two sections, the reading and writing section and the math section, with two modules of questions in each of them. On the A.C.T., there are 4 sections. Now, those sections are reading, English, math, and science, with an optional writing section.
How much of the two tests is math?
Now, math sections on both tests will emphasize algebra. A.C.T. math has larger focus on geometry than S.A.T. math, but both tests permit students to bring accepted calculators. And let's also remember that on the new digital S.A.T., there is a built-in graphing calculator called the Desmos calculator. In addition, the S.A.T. has a diagram of math formulas, and the A.C.T. doesn't.
Good to know. How about scoring?
The S.A.T. is scored on a 400 to 1,600 point scale. In 2023, the average S.A.T. score was a 1028. On the A.C.T., it scored between a 1 and a 36. In 2023, the average A.C.T. score was a 19.5.
But aren't the costs of taking the test the same?
They are. Yeah, the S.A.T. is $68. That's up from $60 last year. A.C.T. is also $68, but it's $93 if a student chooses to add in the writing section. And let's remember that many states will require public high school juniors to take the S.A.T. or the A.C.T. So, for example, Michigan and Illinois are both states that require the S.A.T., and Wisconsin and Ohio are states that require the A.C.T. Now, in those instances, the states pay the testing fee for all student test takers.
Rob, the Princeton Review did a survey about the S.A.T. and A.C.T. One of the questions you asked was why students took the tests, right?
Yes, we did. In the 2024 College Hopes and Worries survey, we found that 42% of the students that we surveyed chose the answer, scores can distinguish my application. 36% chose the answer, scores are considered in scholarship and aid decisions, and 22% chose to have test scores on hand if needed.
So, of the three choices, which is the best answer?
I tell all of my students it is to have those tests to distinguish yourself from other applicants applying to college in the same year.
So, how can we decide which is the best test to take?
Well, we have a quick side-by-side comparison of both the S.A.T. as well as the A.C.T. at the Princeton Review. It is always good to dig into the details on the differences between both of those tests. But the best way to decide which test is right for you is to take a practice test for each of them, the S.A.T. and the A.C.T. Although it's a big time commitment, what you walk away with is a very clear understanding of each test.
Guess taking a test to decide which test to take is a good idea.
You're so right.
As always, thanks for talking with us, Rob.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Clearly, that was a lot of information to absorb. Not to worry, you can watch this report again on our Teen Kids News YouTube channel. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, you already know that. I'm Benjamin for Teen Kids News.